let's get on with our elevations. First thing we want to do before we start drawing elevation of our floor plan, and again the elevation is that that view of like the front and all the sides and you know the back of the house from like an eye level, is if you were standing right in front of it. So you'll have four elevations. You'll have a front, right side, left side, and a back elevation. Before we start, we have to kind of know where our roof line is going to fall. So we're just going to place a temporary roof. We're going to use dotted lines to place the outline of the roof. And I've already created a layer for that somewhere. There it is right there. It says roof. So you can create your own layer. The color is not really important here, as long as it's on a layer that you can turn on and off. And of course what we're drawing here is just very temporary. So I'm on this roof layer, and I'm going to start with really just a line tool. I'm going to come here and grab that corner. I'm not going to click, and I'm going to move up a little bit, and I want my overhang to be 2 feet. So I'm going to type in 2 feet. Alright, so then that line starts at 2 feet from that corner. Now here I'm just going to pick up that corner, and there we have it. Part of our 2 foot overhang. Now I'm going to extend this line just you know, make things simple. I'm going to extend it this way 2 feet, and then I'm going to extend this way 2 feet. Alright, so now I have you know, that full overhang on the back and in both sides. Next, all we have to do, actually we can mirror this roof line, clicking on the mirror button here, and then I'm going to select the object, and I'm going to click enter, and it says to find the center point. Well, this wall here goes all the way down the side, so it should have a center point, and it does right there, midpoint actually. And I click and I drag this way to establish that mirror line. Alright, so now, oops, I always do that. Let me do that again. Click on mirror, click on the line, enter, specify first point of mirror line, and click. I always forget to click enter here, and it's asking if we want to delete the source object, and of course most of the time you don't. It's already selected for no. Just click enter, and then of course your line will stay. Now all I have to do is connect these two ends. Okay, do it again over here. And what I'm doing here, just as a reminder, I think I've covered it in one video, but when I'm in a command such as this line command, let me delete these and I'll show you. Okay, so I want to draw that line. I'm in the line command because I just clicked on the line tool. I'm going to draw this line here, get it where it needs to be. Sometimes you got a little closer. Alright, so of course I'm still in the line tool. Just as I drag my cursor, that line wants to follow it. Well, what I do here is I just I can either click escape or enter to get out of the line tool. Okay, so enter, I'm out of the line tool. Now I also want to use that same line tool. So a quick way to go back into it is to hit enter again. So after you escape out of a tool and do whatever it is you need to do, if you want to get right back into that same tool that you just used, you can just click enter and it will select the last used tool. And that makes things quick when you're placing a lot of you know, pieces of geometry around and it's like repetitive or something of that nature. It just makes it click to hit the enter button to escape the line tool or whatever tool, go wherever else you need to go to draw, click enter again to restart that previous command. So now I have my roof outline, and I want to go to the construction line layer, and I have a construction line layer here. It's purple. If you have not created a construction line layer yet, go ahead and do that, and you can color whatever color you want to. I color mine purple so I'll be able to differentiate between my construction lines and all my other geometry. I don't want to get those mixed up. So I've just activated the construction line layer. Now I'm just going to click on the draw drop down. Right here is the construction line. Now I'm going to establish some of these construction lines. These construction lines will help guide me. Okay, and here I go again. Now when the first construction line you lay, it still wants to follow your cursor, so I escape out of it, then I hit enter again, which gets me right back into it, and I should be able to just click and go from here on out. So I click here to get the edge of that feature of the wall, and here's another feature, which is my window. I want to get the edges of that window. Alright, now I want to get the edges of this door, and you see it's letting me just click and go now. And edges of this window, the outer edge of the wall, and then the outer edge of the roof line. Okay, so I'm done with my construction lines. Now those will help guide me in putting things where they're supposed to be, so everything is exactly the same. My elevation is exactly the same as my floor plan. First thing we'll do is establish a foundation line. So I'm going to go back into elevation F. I'm going to make a different, for my elevations, I'm going to have a different layer. This layer right here is called elevation front. That's what I'm using for the front, and this will allow me to turn my different elevations on and off. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit that. So I'm just going to do all my elevations on one layer. So elevation front, I'm going to rename that just elevation, and probably say elevation W for elevation walls. Okay, that makes everything a little more simpler. A good idea, in which I am fixing to start doing myself, is to make a list on a piece of scrap paper, an Excel document, or anything that defines your different layers here. Okay, we don't want to use up a lot of text space spelling our layers out completely. So if you get to a point where you're forgetting what these layers were, you might want to take that piece of scratch paper or your notebook and write down basically what these layers are, so you don't get confused later on like I do. Alright, now we're establishing the foundation line. We're on our elevation layer. Here's just a regular line tool. Now I want to get far enough from the house because I'm basically creating the foundation. So from there I'm going to be building up, including the roof. I'm going to put the roof on here too. So I want to leave plenty of space to put that, and of course just be aware that later on you're going to be moving a lot of this stuff around. Okay, so don't get too attached on where you're putting things yet. But anyway, first point, let's see, it wants to pick up on these edges, these corners, so I'm going to have to tell it what to do instead of just clicking and drawing. So I'm going to specify this first point, so it looks like at 30 feet about, and that's not what I wanted it to do. Let me try that again. See, it might let me, now it still wants to latch on up here, so I'm going to pull that down 30 feet, and there we go. So now my line is latched in at 30 feet. Okay, now as you see here, I'm starting to get below my coordinate system lines. I do want to keep my work above that, so I'm just going to move that up a little bit for now. Later on I'll probably end up moving a lot of stuff around. So above that, and that's going to help with my measurements and typing in my dimensions. Things can get very confusing when you start going to the lower and left of the XY axis. Alright, now my walls are 8 feet tall. That's the minimum. You can have walls 9, 10, 12 feet if you want to, if there's a reason for it to be that high. But I am going to place this wall. I'm actually going to offset the foundation 8 feet. So 8 feet. Type on it or click on it, and then there we go. We have 8 feet up is our wall. Now we're also going to have you got like the roof line when you first walk up to a house. Of course, you're looking at it, you see where the foundation is, you see where the eaves come out, and of course you see where the roof is. Now on the front of that eave is what's called a fascia, and that is basically a board that covers up the end of your roof so that you're not looking at exposed beams that make up your roof. That board is usually about 6 inches, and that space is usually about 6 inches or so. So I'm going to do another offset here. Now I have to change it to 6 inches, and there we have that that fascia. All right, and now I'm going to do some tying ends here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of these further outside lines, construction lines, because I don't need them anymore. Alright, and now what I want to do is I want to kind of complete some stuff here, tie my loose ends up here, and go ahead and close that off. And we'll go ahead and close this off. Okay, now I want to draw the walls, the furthest left and the furthest right wall. And that's simply just drawing a line from here, from that construction line down to here. Escape. I'm going to click enter again to get back into that line tool, and then from here to here. Now you can start to see that's my 1 foot overhang for the roof. I'm going to do some trimming, trim things up a bit, and I'm going to trim that. I'm going to trim that. Alright, now I don't need these outer lines anymore, so I'm going to get rid of those. Just use the eraser tool, and then I can see things as they're coming together. Okay, next we have windows. We have 2 windows on the front. Now to achieve good symmetry, I like for the top of my windows to be even with the top of my door. The minimum height of a door is 6 foot 8 inches. It must be at least 6 foot 8 inches. So I'm going to use another construction line. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset my foundation line 6 foot 8 inches. Okay, I'm going to offset that. There we go. And I'm going to put it on the construction layer because I don't want to keep it. Now that marks the top of my door and the top of my windows. Okay, so what I can do from here is start drawing my windows and my doors. And I think what I'll do is I'll stop right here. This video is almost 14 minutes long, and allow you to take a break, stretch out, things like that. And then you can come back and watch part 2 of elevations.